Up to 400,000 acres of land devoted to vegetables, cotton, and forage crops in the central San Joaquin Valley may lay idle this winter and early spring because of possible zero water allocations to the federal water users, so many Latino farm employees are worried about job loss. It could mean the loss of homes, cars, inadequate food, and even loss of college educations for the children of farm workers. It's the loss of the American dream that tens of thousands of Latinos have worked hard to enjoy. The 2014 season could be far worse than 2009, when there was only a 10% allocation for federal water for many California farmers. This low water allocation is due to the Endangered Species Act, which protects fish in the Sacramento Delta, where most of Northern California water collects before flowing southward. Even since 2009, unemployment has been as high as 40% in many small towns in western Fresno County, which has for many years been the #1 county in America in agricultural production. Maria Hernandez came to the U.S. from Mexico when she was 6 years old and moved around with her family harvesting crops. She currently works at Los Gatos Tomatoes near Huron, southwest of Fresno. It's also where she and her family lives. Hernandez is very much aware of possible layoffs this season.
It's going to affect the growers, the farmers. It will affect not only them, but like I said, all these people who work, who earn a living. You know, where are they going to get the money to feed their children? You know, it's really sad if this happens, how things are looking.
Hortensia Solario is a former farm worker in the field and has moved up to an office position for Harris Wolf Farms, an almond sheller and hulling operation in western Fresno County. Solario, who lives in Coalinga with her family, says the whole water situation, taking it away from farmers, just doesn't make sense.
I don't know too much about politics, but in my mind it's simple. How could people think that fish are more important? I mean, I just can't understand that you're going to put out water in the ocean because of the fish. When you have all these people here, this guy wants to work, let him work. He doesn't want your government money. He doesn't want food stamps. He wants to work, so why are you giving the fish priority? Yes, I understand that extinction, all of that, but isn't there like a balance here? Isn't humans, aren't they important? But I don't see how that is all blurred to them.
She added that the water loss in 2009 and 2010 was tough on farm worker families.
A lot of people lost their homes because both of them work in the field. So where's their mortgage payment going to come from? You know, their kids, school, even, you know, just the basic things, having their school clothes, their school materials, having all of that, you know, is just scary. And for all of those people, and including myself, it's like it stopped there, but I mean, it continues. We're at the same place right now, and growers are struggling. If they're struggling, they can't keep their businesses if there's no water. Eventually it comes down to, for them to make ends meet, they have to lay off people. So it's just a chain reaction of what happens.
Maria Hernandez continues.
You know, if we don't have the water and the agriculture, where are we going to have all these people who don't have, you know, the educational skills? Where are they going to work? These are very important jobs. Just like my father came as a bracero here and started working in the fields, and then I, myself, and my husband work in the fields. There will always be a need for people to come and work in the, you know, in the agriculture, and we need the crops, and we export tomato paste or raw crops, you know, lettuce, whatever, to not only all the United States but all over the world. If this all ends one day, where will we get the crops from?
And Jesus Cuevas, who lives in Kerman, oversees tomato production for Wolf Farming, a diversified family farm operation in the Huron area. Cuevas said back when the water was delivered, there were good jobs.
It is sad to have a big canal going through the valley, loaded with water, and we can take one drop of that. It's gonna, you know, like Hortensia and Maria. I remember back in the good old days when we used to raise 10,000 acres of lettuce, and you see hundreds of people in the field. And people bought their homes in here thinking, say, you know what, this is a good place to make a living. And in 5 years, everything got dried out. They lost their homes, they lost their jobs, and people that they don't want to be on the unemployment office.
And it could get worse in 2014. This is part of a series on how water policies are impacting farm workers in federal water districts. I'm Patrick Kavanaugh.
The California farm workers who grace the fields bringing food to tables across the U.S. and the world came to California for a better life. Most get married and have children, and countless send their kids to college. Many of these college graduates have gained employment in all kinds of jobs off the farm. It's all part of the American dream to which they have aspired, but it could all come to a tragic stop if no federal water is delivered in 2014 to the west side of the central San Joaquin Valley. Jesus Cuevas oversees tomato operations for Wolf Farming, a diversified family operation in western Fresno County. Jesus and his wife wanted their children to have a better life.
All my 4 kids were born on the west side, well, actually in Fresno, but they grew up on the west side in the Huron and Five Points area. They all went to West Side School in Five Points, Riverdale High in Riverdale, and Fresno State. Jesus, the oldest, he became a teacher at West Side School. My second son, Santino, he works for American Fidelity. My youngest son, Christopher, they also work for American Fidelity. And my daughter, she's getting her master's at Fresno State for physical science.
Maria Hernandez works as a human resources coordinator with Los Gatos Tomato Products near Huron, southwest of Fresno. She got married in 1980 and followed her husband to the Central Valley, where they both worked seasonal field jobs such as weeding crops. They eventually had 2 children, a son and a daughter, and by working in the fields, the couple sent their children to college.
My son is a teacher at the Huron Middle School, and my daughter is now at UC Davies starting her PhD. She'll graduate in June. Human development. She's actually applying for a postdoc in Arizona. My daughter was 4.0, above 4.0. She was valedictorian. She went. Most of her studying was paid by scholarships, and there was some that we had to save up and pay her tuition and books. But my kids made it through, and there are many others that have gone to college from Huron.
Hortensia Solario came from Michoacan when she was 2 years old. She's now married with 2 sons and lives in Coalinga in western Fresno County. Hortensia works at Harris Wolf Farms, an almond handler.
I have 2 boys. One of them went to West Hills, and he completed a program where he works at the state hospital here in Coalinga. My youngest is a sophomore at Fresno State. He's studying pre-nursing.
All of the wonderful progression in these families could all come to a big halt in 2014 when up to 400,000 acres of western Fresno and Kings County's farmland are not planted. Hortensia Solario said that she and her neighbors are worried.
All of them have kids that are going to school, that have homes, that have cars, insurance. Everybody's faced with that situation. The people that I know, they have a similar story.
Jesus Cuevas said that 2014 could be a devastating year for many.
We're looking at with 0 allocation, and our wells are dropping, so we're going to have to leave a lot of fields, a lot of acres not planted, so we're going to have to lay off some people. And the people's not going to hang around in here. They're going to have to go to a different place to get a job. So what are they going to do? They're going to lose their homes. The kids are going to have to move out of school. People don't realize that the school district, they losing kids by hundreds every year because of the shortage of water.
This is part of a series on how the lack of water deliveries into federal water districts is impacting farm workers in Central California prime farmland. I'm Lori Green.
This fall and winter, fields on the west side of the central San Joaquin Valley should be bedded up and ready for tomatoes, garlic, cotton, lettuce, onions, and many other row crops. But the Bureau of Reclamation announced back in July that unless there's more than average rain and snowfall, there would be an unprecedented 0 water allocation for growers in the vast federal water districts such as Westlands, Panoche, and San Luis. Up to 400,000 acres may not be planted, which would mean a massive job loss for thousands of Latino farm workers. When there is no water, it's tough for everyone, but the Latino farm worker is always first in the unemployment line. Jesus Cuevas oversees tomato production for Wolf Farming, a diversified family operation near Huron, southwest of Fresno. Every morning he drives about 40 miles to work, and he can gauge what is happening already when it comes to job loss.
Well, you can see it. I mean, I've been traveling from Kerman to Huron, 5 Points to Huron for 6-7 years. And when I go through Huron in the mornings and we have plenty of water, you can see people getting out of their homes and go to work. Now, you come through Huron, and you can see people standing on the street by the store and hope that somebody will come over and pick them up and take them to work. But with no farming right now, with no water, they're already laying off a lot of guys. A lot of guys, they're being laid off right now, and they told them go and look for a better place to live. And so that's what they do. They're going to try to sell their houses, leave everything behind, and start a new life. That's not good.
Cuevas says without the vegetable crops being planted, jobs disappear.
I mean, you got vegetables, that you got to have good quality water to grow a good lettuce crop, a good tomato crop, garlic and onions. But when they come and tell you that you're not going to get no water, so then you said, you know what, you better start looking for a new job because I'm not going to have no garlic, no onions, no tomatoes.
Stuart Wolf is president and CEO of Wolf Farming.
You go down, you look at a list of these employees, and you realize how long they've worked there. You know, it's not just done blindly. And that is a tough, awful deal. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, it's terrible for every single person involved.
And California layoff problems span into another country. Hortensia Solario is a former field worker who now works for Harris Wolf Farms, an almond processor near Coalinga in western Fresno County.
My husband comes from a large family. There's 13 of them. My mother-in-law is in Mexico, so my husband sends her each month money. So now that's also in jeopardy because if I don't have money to pay my mortgage, how am I going to help her? It just goes down, and there's a lot of families that the same story. I mean, now their families there are going to suffer because their kids, don't have a job. They have to, find a job, and now, whatever they were getting on a monthly basis, now it's just zero or little.
This is part of a series on how water shortages are impacting farm workers in the federal water districts of California. I'm Patrick Kavanaugh. Heavy rains a year ago in November and December rushed 800,000 acre-feet of water into the Sacramento Delta. The big flow also pushed some Delta smelt southward toward the pumps to bring water south to the urban Californians and San Joaquin Valley farmers. Because of the restriction due to the Endangered Species Act protecting the 2-inch-long smelt, the pumps had to be turned off and water moved out to the ocean instead. That was enough water to produce crops on 200,000 acres, or 10 million tons of tomatoes, 2 million boxes of lettuce, 20 million tons of grapes, or 500 million pounds of almonds. A very dry spring left San Luis Reservoir in Merced County without any recharge, and the reservoir water level has sunk to record low levels. This prompted a warning from the Bureau of Reclamation that more than average rainfall must fall in California this winter, or there will be zero water deliveries for growers in the federal water districts. The lack of water deliveries is already causing many Latino farm workers to lose their livelihoods that they've worked all their lives to gain. Juan Guardian has worked for diversified farmer Sean Coburn for decades near Fireball in western Fresno County, a very big agricultural area known as ground zero of the water crisis. Guardian came to the U.S. from Mexico in April 1962 at the bottom rung of the ladder.
For some reason, I didn't take a good education. That's why I go straight to the fields instead for the farmers. When I start to work on the farmers, we have right here in the United States better equipment than the one we got in Mexico. We start to put an interest on it and learn where's the best way to get money. So I just climb like a ladder. Just keep going up, 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 up until I don't know how far I'm going to go.
He first worked in the Salinas Valley in strawberry, broccoli, lettuce, and celery fields.
When I come down across the border, it's a good water. No problems, a lot of people, a lot of job, a lot of money, everybody happy.
Guardian noted that usually there's plenty of water each year from rain and melting snow, except when it's interrupted by others.
Plenty of water to take care of the crops, to take care of the people, to take care of the city, farming land, everything. After that, somebody's trying to get us marked. They take the water to a different place. But far as I know, we got plenty of water to take care of what we're supposed to make happy everybody.
He really questions whether fish should be more important than humans.
To me, that's not, because who will take care of the fish? The human take care of the fish. If we didn't have what we need, we ain't going to take care of the fish. What the fish going to do if we didn't take care of it? They're going to go away. They're going to die.
Guardian and his wife have 3 kids. 2 have masters, 1 in biology and 1 in criminology, and a 3rd in college studying to be a teacher.
When they start to go to school, we got plenty of water, we got plenty of jobs. I said we got plenty of money, so that's why we take care of my kids. After that, to keep going to school after that, or college, that is going to be harder.
With possible zero water to grow their crops this upcoming season in the federal water district on the west side of the San Joaquin Valley, Guardian sees the beginning of the end in areas like Fireball.
When we have nothing to eat or survive in this area, on this valley, the people are going to move. What's going to happen? This town is going to be disappear. The buildings is going to be full. All the equipment, they spend a lot of money for the equipment that's going to go. Where they're going to go, we don't know. Everybody going to get hurt. To me, everybody going to hurt. What are we going to do? We don't know until some people start to find out really. They know the problem already, but they don't want to do it.
This is part of a series on how water policies are impacting farm workers in the federal water districts. I'm Patrick Cavanaugh.